Isaac and Jacob. Now today I'm going to talk about how gardening was always a part of our culture. What's the scripture I'm finna bring up? The first scripture. And, Genesis 4:2-4. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep. Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Verse 3. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yahweh. Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yahweh. Verse 4. And Abel he brought the first he brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof, and Yahweh had respect unto Abel and to his offering. So you can see at the beginning of time they was farming. At the beginning of time, they was tilling the ground and having fruit, and they was having a bunch of flock. Hopefully y'all making sense. Next verse. Genesis 13:2-5. And Abram was very rich. He was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. But he was rich in cattle also. No, sorry, I didn't mean to say like out reading the verse, but yeah, he was very rich in cattle. That's you had to have resources, especially back in the day. It's verse 5. And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents. So back in the day, for them to survive, they had to have tents. Alright, we already know this though. We already know they had to have tents, flocks, candles, flocks, herds, and tents. They had to have cattle and all that stuff. We already know that. Next verse. Hold on. But yeah, it was very important for us to have resources, have our own stuff. I mean, Jacob had to work 7 years to get resources because he knew how important it was, right?
No,
For you to have your own stuff.
Adam West.
Oh, trying to find her. She don't do nothing. Thought she grow some food or something. I don't know. Next verse. Leviticus 26:3-5. If ye walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them. Verse 4. Then I will give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. Verse 5. And your threshing shall reach unto the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time, and ye shall eat your bread to the full, and dwell in your land safely. Throughout the whole law, basically was talking about throughout the whole blessings of the law. He was talking about you gonna be the one lending, not be the till. He was talking about you gonna be the one have your own resources. So that since the beginning of time, the most high, the creator. No, let's get this out the way first. Without resources, I mean, without a source, there can't be resources, right? So First of all, you gotta make sure you praising the Father, doing what the Father says, right? Yeah. What am I talking about? Resources. Make sure we giving praises to the Father. He the one to give you all the resources you need. If you do what the Father says, He gonna bless you. Okay. He gonna bless you. And throughout the whole and oh yeah, the blessings. Throughout the whole blessings. Throughout the whole time of us having blessings, us us keeping law was gonna make sure us give the best fruit. So that shows you during that time that our people was farming, we was growing crops and all that. And then you look at the curse, he said you gonna have to borrow. You see what us now have to borrow all this famine and stuff, right? What's the next verse? Deuteronomy 11 through 13. Basically the same thing with the blessings. What's the name? He's gonna fill your storehouse. He's gonna fill all the land, fill all the storehouses, treasure, give rain into heaven. So to make sure it's waterful, plentiful, good. Make sure we have all the fruits and stuff. Then verse 13 talking about us being the head, not the tail, us being the lender, not the borrower. And people be hating on these commandments. And watch when these times like actually hit, when your arm just be like when this to the fan, like dang. Yeah, all the time to take it out and do something with it, but nah, you just gonna waste it and keep it in the fan. I don't understand. What else? Oh yeah. Genesis 24 and 35. And Yahweh had blessed my master greatly, and he is become great, and he had to give him flocks and herd and silver and gold and men servants and maid servants and camels and asses. Abraham had to get cattle and stuff. Like how am I? What's the best way for me to describe it, man? What's the best way for me to describe it? Like, what's the best way for me to describe cattle and stuff being part of our culture, being part of something that we always had? Like, all this, not, you know what? This could be a good way too. For us to even have the land of Israel, you had to have an inheritance. You had to be growing your own crops. You had to be having your own cattle and stuff like that. Then if you don't have that stuff, you will be a servant. You have to serve for that. Jacob had to serve for it. Am I right? Jacob had to serve for cattle and stuff like that. Let me get the verse. Genesis 30, 28, 29, 41 through 43. And he said, appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said unto him, thou knowest how I served thee, and how thy cattle was with me. Verse 41. And it came to pass, whensoever these stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in, so the feeble were laboring, and the stronger Jacob's. And the men increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maid servants, and men servants, and camels, and asses. Basically the same thing. Another verse. This gonna go to Jacob's son. This is an Israelite. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father the evil report. Basically, this Genesis verse 37 and 2. Basically, what I wanted to get into is talking about how Joseph was feeding the flock. So, what else? Job 1 and 3. His substance was also 7,000 sheep. So, context on Job, he was keeping the commandments. He was a perfect man in the eyes of Yah. And 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all men of the east. Job was great because he was perfect and he kept the commandments of the Most High. And then he had a bunch of cattle, so that shows how great he was. That shows how powerful he was. He had a bunch of resources. And then we supposed to be farming to this day. I'm gonna bring out this verse, Jeremiah 29, verse 4 through 6. Thus said Yah of hosts, the Allah of Israel, unto all that carried away captives. Talking about us carried away captives, who I have caused to carry away from Jerusalem unto Babylon. We living in Babylon today. Or some people gonna say Babylon something else. I don't care. But ye, build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens, and eat the fruit in them, and eat the fruit in them. Verse 6. Take ye wives, and begat sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there and not diminished. So we supposed to be planted. That what Jeremiah said. We carried away captives. Proverbs 28 and 19. He that tilleth his land shall have plenty of bread, but he that followeth after vain persons shall have poverty. If you till your land, you gonna have plenty of bread. You know what I'm saying? Susanna 1, chapter 1, verse 1 through 4. There dwelt a man in Babylon called Jocham. So this is talking about a man in Babylon in this context right here. And he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Hilkiah, a very fair woman, and one that feared Yahweh. Her parents also were righteous, and they taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. Now Jocham was a very rich man. He was a rich man. Again, Abraham was rich in cattle, gold, and silver. He had a bunch of resources. Keep that in mind. He had a fair garden, so he was planting during this time. And joining unto his house, and to him resorted Jews, because he was more honorable than them all. Ecclesiastes 2, verse 4 through 5 and 7. I made me great works. I builded me houses. I planted me vineyards. I made me gardens. And I planted trees in them of all kinds of fruit. I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. Also, I had great possessions of I have great possessions of great and small cattle. Okay, and small cattle. Above all that were in Jerusalem before me. So this is key. Hopefully hopefully I'm doing my job. But yeah, I, they keep telling you that that they were growing people. And the Most High told you the blessing was gonna be, if you do this, I'm gonna make your plants beautiful. I'm gonna make it right. I'm gonna make you have a bunch of cattle because you're gonna be the head. You should never be relying on another man like that. It's like I don't know why I said another man like that, but yeah. Sirach 7, chapter 7, verse 15. Hate not laborers' work, neither husbandry. Husbandry, putting in the work, putting in the effort, you know what I'm saying? When, which the Most High, which the Most High had ordained. Sirach 38, verse 24 through 26. The wisdom of a learned man came into by opportunity of leisure. And he that had a little business become wise. So yeah, if you farm, you have your own little business going on, you gonna come wise. Cause you gonna learn about plant, learn about growing and all that. Learn about which plants to grow, which plants not to grow, all that. What else? How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plow, and glory in the good, that drive the oxen, and is occupied in their labors, and whose talk is of bullocks? He giveth his mind to make fury furrows. Okay, they say furrows, and is diligent to give the kind father. Ho- hopeful, hopefully that makes sense. But I just read to you. Hopefully you get it. Sirach 29 and verse 24. For it is miserable life to go from house to house. For where thou art a stranger, thou darest not open thy mouth. Self-explanatory. But again, if you read, okay, okay. If you read most of the Torah and you read Genesis, if you read Genesis 1, he gave Adam most of the resources. He gave him all the resources that he would need. He gave him everything that he would need. And you read about how great the soil was. He gave him all the herbs and all that, all the gold, everything that you would need as a man. He gave him all that. And now that's again telling you that the Most High values resources. He values you gardening, you planting your stuff. He values all that. Like, and if you pay attention throughout the whole Bible, he values having resources better than he values gold. Like, he values you having cattle, you gardening plants and all that. He values that better than gold. That and wisdom. You can read that throughout the whole Torah, and then you read throughout the whole Torah. It's talking about inheritance. It's like inheritance, and it's talking about how he will bless you with a bunch of resources, but if you be cursed, you don't keep the commandments, you will not have a bunch of resources. Hopefully I'm making sense. Sirach 40 verse 28 through 29. My son, lead not a beggar's life, for it is better for better it is it to do die than to beg. Verse 29. The life on him that depended on another man's table is not counted for a life, for he polluted himself with other man's meat. A wise man will nurture it, will beware thereof. Yeah, we shouldn't be relying on another man like that to be having food, to be having his own meat, and to be begging like some little. You know what? Maybe I just feel so passionate because I see how the white man doing us wrong. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's why I'm passionate about it. about it. Sirach 33. Man, Sirach one of the greatest books ever. It's one of the greatest books ever. Sirach 33, 19 through 23. Give not thy son and wife, thy brother and friend, power over thee while thou livest, and give not thy goods to another, lest it repent thee, and thou entreat for the same again. As, verse 20. As long as thou livest and hast breath in thee, give not thy life to any. For verse 21. For better it is that thy children should seek thee than thou shouldest stand to their courtesy. Verse 22. And all thy words keep to thyself the preeminence, leave not a stain in thy honor. Verse 23. At the same time, when thou shalt end thy days and finish thy life, distribute thy inheritance. So keep your inheritance, keep your name. That's important. That's also like, I don't know if I said it before, but that's also part of gardening, part of farming. You gotta have an inheritance, keep your name alive, so you can have goods for your family. And that's also part of generational wealth, in case you didn't know. Sirach 39, 20, verse 25 to, no, Sirach, chapter 29, 39, 25 through 26. For the good are good things created from the beginning, so evil for descendants. The principal things. Now these are the principal things that you're gonna need as a man in life. For the whole use of man's life are water. When we do a homestead or whatever, you gotta make sure you have water, fire, iron, salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of grape, and oil, and clothing. Make sure we have all these essential things, because in our life we're supposed to have these things, and that's part of gardening. If you pay attention to it, because it's blood of grape, you produce your grapes. Milk, if you have like goat milk, whatever. Clothing, you sewing, or you could just keep trading. That's another thing. Trade's good too. Salt, fire, iron. Okay. Alright. Sirach, verse 10, 27 and 30. Better is he that laboreth and abounded in all things than he that boasted in himself and wanted bread. It says it right there. It's better for you labor for it and abound in all things than you boast in yourself. Yeah, I'm that dude. And you talking about something. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Can I get something to eat? I'm a king though. I'm a king, but can I get something to eat? That don't make no sense, right? And this is gonna be a important factor right here. Verse 30. The poor man is honored for his skills. The poor man is honored for his skills. So if you're trying to garden, man, it's gonna take a lot of work, man. You gotta build up them skills. You gotta build that stuff up for the last days, and you do it with the Most High. He got you. If you do it right, he gonna protect you, right? Or you better hope he has you. And he protects you. You know what I'm saying? Because anything can happen. A tornado can happen. Hurricane can happen, and you lose all your crops. You lose all your resources. Woo! Sirach 29, 21 through 23. Woo! The chief thing for life is water and bread. We already went over that. And clothing and a house covered to shame. Verse 22. Better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage, he don't have much, than delicate fare in another man's house. Woo! Verse 23. But that's like a be it little or much, hold thee contented, that thou hear not the reproach of thy house. Yeah, you gotta make sure you have your own stuff too. Try to get your own house. If you gotta serve, you gotta serve. You understand? To try to make sure you have resources as possible. Then this low key is part of gardening too. First Timothy 6 through 8. No, I want to say 6 through 8. 6 and 8. And having food and raiment, let us be content. So when you start in the process of gardening, trying to get your cattle and stuff, be content with what you have. So you can save money and build into your homestead so you get more and more resources. Because you gotta understand when these white I'm tired. These Caucasoids, these cavemen, these people who run in the world, right? They run in the world. Let me rephrase that. They run in this wicked ass society. They understand whoever has the resources has the power. They understand that. That's why they keep going to Africa and taking stuff. That's why they don't grow their own stuff. That's why they keep taking stuff for other people. They understand, like, if you have your own, you good. And that's another thing too. That's why they always have you dependent on the system. That's why they don't teach you how to garden and grow your own stuff. Cause in school you be like, you supposed to learn how to do all this stuff you're not gonna use, right? You be like, how come I don't learn how to garden? How come I don't get my reparations? Because if you learn how to garden and you learn how to get your reparations, this whole system would fail. This whole system would just, I mean, it's failing now, of course, but they trying to make you die rapidly. Yeah, they trying to kill the whole damn population. Shoot, like they the most high. But yeah, they understand it. You will never need them. You start gardening, you start to have your own thing, and then that's why when many white people was asking for, can I have 40 acres and a mule, and keep asking for reparation, most likely they never gonna give it to you, because if they was to give it to you, you will never need them at all. You will never need them again. I mean, of course, some of you gonna waste it, but you will figure out. Most of us will figure out how to garden. So we'll build our own communities and we will trade with each other like we did back in the day. And they understand, like, damn, these Israelites waking up. They are waking up to the truth. They are waking up to who they is. Can you do something? Shoot. Let me get back to my kid. What I'm talking about? Oh yeah. They understand, like, you will continue needing them. That's why they have this sharecropping system. Like, you the sharecropping system where you will always be in debt to them. That's why many people, it's hard for many people to garden, because we are not trained these things. Then you try to tell other Negroes, man, gardening is good. Like, why you trying to start a garden? Man, you gotta know this, you gotta know this, you gotta know that. They don't do that to no white man, right? They just do it to you. Like, well, when you have land, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Well, you gotta make mistakes to learn, right? Hopefully I'm making sense. All praise to the Father. That's why we gotta start learning how to be trying to be self-sufficient, or just self-sufficient to the best of our abilities, right? And then when you gardening, it's certain stuff you gotta look at too. You gotta look at what's your water source, because you looked at Israel back in the day, they had water sources, right? They had the rivers. They had the Most High gave them like all the water for Israel. Then the food was provided for the Most High. Like they had to work for it. They already knew how to till the ground and stuff. But yeah. Then the clothing, the Most High provided all that. Yeah, they had to learn the skills to keep the clothing. And then one underrated thing too, that most people that we gotta do as Israel, we gotta hope and pray that the Most High give us wisdom. Because during the Exodus, the Most High gave, he had to give, he didn't have to, but he gave Caleb and he gave Caleb Joshua wisdom, and that's what helped Israel through. I already went over acres. I went over acres. I went over that we were farming through the system. Then just think about it. I think I already went over this, but resources and farming in general just build generational wealth, that they can be less dependent on the system. That's why these damn coppers always doing some bullshit. There's gonna come a time where you gonna probably have to farm, right? You probably gonna have to make your own resources. I ain't with all that, but man, all you just need is just faith without works. That makes no damn sense. You know what? All praises to the Father. Have a blessed day. Shalom, shalom, or shalom, however you say it. Peace. All praises to the Father. Abiyah.